Morning all, how's it going? Yeah, no, I have been sort of neglecting US politics lately to concentrate on the British ones because I do find, obviously, the politics of my home to be slightly more engaging to me than the politics of my adopted homeland. But AOC should never be off the radar of anyone in either the UK or America because AOC is a fucking comedy goldmine. Like, the shit that she comes out with is astounding. As I talked about last week, we had a massive surge in crime. Fucking shootings all over the place. Chicago, New York, and Atlanta just turned into hell. Mass murder on a colossal scale. Black on black crime. Fucking shocking figures. And historically, it happens every time there's a bout of police bashing or pulling the police down, not allowing them to police the streets properly or defend themselves, charging them with murder when they fucking defend themselves. I mean, of course, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know exactly where it's going to lead. But this is classic. AOC suggested that the crime surge was basically people shoplifting bread. Like we're all living in a fucking Bible parable. I'll play the video for you.
I think there's something about this uptick in crime. Let me make something super clear for everyone here having this question. They went out and they said, okay, this uptick in crime is happening because of bail reform, because of all of these reforms that we had now. Wait, but they just released data a couple weeks ago that showed that out of almost all the people who have been found to have kind of committed crimes, etc., almost none have been re-released due to the bail reform. Like, their actual crime data from the NYPD, not even independent data, disproves what they're saying. So why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night. Maybe it's the fact that unemployment provisions have not been given to everyone. Maybe it's because of the fact that some people still haven't gotten their stimulus checks yet.
How good was that? So, despite the fact we saw massive amounts of footage, and I'm pretty sure in not a single one, none of it, I didn't see a single photograph, I didn't see a single news report, I didn't see any footage on YouTube, I didn't see anything on Twitter, I didn't see a single picture of anybody running off with a fucking baguette. Not one. No, I didn't see a young black fella sprinting down a road with fucking 8 loaves of tiger bread stuffed under his arms, or a large burlap sack filled with bread rolls and crumpets and croissants. I didn't see anybody stealing any bread products anywhere in America. Nowhere. I've seen plenty of blokes with Nike fucking trainers and flat screen TVs, but didn't see any bread. Which leads me nicely onto the second thing that I wanted to talk about. If anyone doesn't know this back in the UK, I know in the UK you had like an 80% furlough scheme where you were getting 80% of your wages. What they did in the United States beggars belief, because they essentially gave people $600 a week federal funding on top of whatever they would get from the state. So basically, in one fell swoop, anybody who worked a shitty minimum wage job, working a restaurant or, McDonald's or even retail, right? The vast majority of it, somewhere like Best Buy or Walmart or Target or anywhere like any of the big staples, retail staples in the United States, they suddenly started getting paid more money for being at home. A lot more money than they would get at home than they would get from working. So you'd get your, you get a couple of $100 state unemployment plus 600 from the feds. And this has been going on for months. There was a lot of argument at the time because people were saying essentially you can't even blame someone for not going back to work. There was a lot of stories about people. Here's a good one from Forbes. Furloughed workers don't want to return to their jobs as they're earning more money with unemployment. So yeah, it says an unintended and unexpected consequence of the multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package is that workers are asking to be laid off or reluctant to go back to work. In an effort to help people financially cope, the federal government passed the CARES Act, that's Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, and is providing $600 a week in unemployment benefits, in addition to what the states already pay, which is in the range of $200 to $300 per week. A person can conceivably earn $1,000 a week on unemployment, depending upon the state or he or she resides in. In addition to the enhanced benefits, most Americans earning less than 75 grand received a one-time check of $1,200 and $500 for each child under 17 years of age. And yeah, me and my missus both got fat check in the post, just sent us $1,200 that we didn't need and didn't ask for no reason. Because free money, right? Needless to say, we stuck it straight in the stock market because at the end of the day, we're paying the fucker back, aren't we? We're taxpayers. All that bastard money's going to have to be paid back. So they basically give you it, you spunk it up the wall, and then you pay it back with interest via taxes. So fucking pointless unless you're a Hmong and you've got the financial acumen of a drunk sailor on fucking shore leave in Vegas, which is none, if you've ever met any sailors. So basically, think about it. If you're working like a job, in most jobs, people in Britain get this because Britain's a more, class-based society. We don't expect a lot of help off the government. The Americans have just got too much money. But seriously, if you're working a normal job, unless you're doing really well for yourself, what incentive is there to go back to work? Like if you're working in an Amazon warehouse and you're getting $20 an hour and you've got to run around and be on your feet all day and carry heavy boxes and fuck about, or if you're working minimum wage in a bakery, if you're working in Greggs and you've got to get up at fucking 4:30 to put the bastard muffins in, are you going to want to go back to work for slightly less than you get on unemployment? It's the maddest thing I've ever heard. And you can't even blame them if they make slightly less, can you? Not really. I mean, you can earn slightly less if you're middle class and you've got a good job. Let's say you get $1,000 a week, but you can just not work at all, just stay at home the whole time and make, slightly less, but more than ample to live off. What fucking incentive is there to go back to work? Like none. You can see these rules are made by people who don't work for a living. Like seriously, because if you do a shitty job in McDonald's or dishwashing in a restaurant, that is a shitty job, and you would know for a fact when you were penning the legislation, no fucker's going to want to go back to work. But if you're an upper class twit, like seems to be the senators and politicians everywhere we live, you won't think of that, will you? You'll just go, let's give them free money. Well, yeah, you're going to fuck the economy, boys and girls, because nobody wants to go back to work. And this is what made me laugh. This story, I beg them, by CNN Politics. It says, just thinking about the end of July fills Kathy Munter with terror. That's when the extra $600 is set to expire, with no sign of agreement in Congress on an extension. Munter, guess what she does for a living? Oh, I've showed you now. But you could guess, I could guess. She is, of course, a yoga instructor. Like a bad stereotype, a middle class arsehole from New York. She's a fucking yoga instructor. Says she depends on the enhanced payment to cover her rent and health insurance and buy food for herself and her daughter Olivia. The roughly $500 she receives in state benefits isn't enough, she said. So she's getting $500 a week in state benefits, right? Plus another $600 in weekly federal unemployment. So she's getting over $1,000 a fucking week. And she's like, no one's hiring. I didn't choose this. I beg them to extend it. Kathy, there she is, doing yoga, as we knew she would be. Listen, Kathy, you could walk into fucking El Pollo Loco or fucking Mackie D's and get a job today. Walk in, tell them you need a job, they'll give you one. The idea that we should carry on throwing trillions of dollars at people because they want to be yoga instructors is fucking preposterous. Like I keep saying, normal people work for a living. I have little things like that. A yoga instructor is a fucking hobby. It's a hobby. If you really do well for yourself and you manage to become some world-renowned yogi and you get 1 million fucking hits on your website every day, well done, you can do it professionally. But for most people, it's the same with anything in the arts. Whether you're a singer or a poet or a writer or an amateur artist like me, that's for fun. You do it on the side, you get a fucking real job. Nobody wants to work in a bank. But sadly, folks, that's life. You can't just do your hobbies all the time. And me, I'm an amateur artist. I like to draw things, usually violent cartoons. I would never even dream of attempting to make a living that way. And I'm not just good at drawing, I can paint, I can do all sorts of things. I'm good with my hands. Slightly better with a bayonet or an assault rifle than a fucking pencil. But you know, you get the point. The idea that we should keep throwing money at these people so they can do their hobbies professionally is fucking laughable. And I just wanted to let my chums back in the UK know that this is just how much money we are throwing at fucking yoga instructors in places like New York City. Middle class lefty arseholes who don't want to do a job that sucks. No wonder they don't care about open borders and bringing in all the unskilled fucking labour, because they won't be affected by it, will they? If you're poor and working class and you've only got a few GCSEs from a shitty high school like most of the population of Middlesbrough, they do compete with your fucking jobs. They do. They love to mock you and take the piss and go, taking our jobs. They compete with you. They don't compete with yoga instructors and fucking Kathy Newman and BBC middle-class journo twats with Oxbridge educations and arts degrees. They don't compete with you, but they do compete with fucking steel workers from the north. That's why these clueless twats are all fucking pro-open borders. They haven't got the brains they were born with, and that is the daftest fucking shit I've ever heard. A sob story from a yoga instructor who's getting $1.50 a week. Do me a fucking favour, Kathy. Let me know what you think. And if anyone's interested, I did attempt to open a store on Teespring, and they promptly took down half of the shit that I submitted, either because I was slagging off communism or they were dubbed to be violent. So I'm working on something else. I'm using a competitor, and we'll see if it's possible for me to sell one of my thuggish designs to anyone that's interested. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and share it and subscribe it. Do me a favour, because YouTube are constantly fucking me at this point. Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.